Welcome viewers, I'm Akshit and as you see in the title, this is a part 2 of the series The London Files, and this series will showcase one of the most brutal and the biggest crimes of London. And for your information, this series is gonna be more gruesome and more darker as we progress in the parts. So if you have not watched the first part, here it is in the right corner and you can watch it by clicking the more button. And I personally suggest that you should watch part 1 before this part, and you can watch the first part and then watch this one. So as this is the second part, this is gonna be a bit darker than the first one. So let's get started. So before starting, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Lampo Computers. These guys sell the best workstations and servers, and they are the best to contact in all over India. And they even provide rental services. That means you can even hire or rent a server or a workstation, and these workstations and servers are really heavy and even in budget too. They provide the best discounts and everything, and this might even save you some money. To contact, there is a link below in the description of their website, and also their phone number is in the description, on which you can contact them by WhatsApp, message and even calling. Their Instagram profile is also linked in the description. You can go and follow them too with me. Charles Sabini was a person with many names. His actual name was either Octavius Nick or Octavio or Ulino, but he is widely known as Charles Sabini or Dali Sabini. He would sometimes change his name or the last name to Henley. Sabini was born with the name Octavio Henley on 11th of July 1888 at Little Bath Street, Saffron Hill, Holborn, London. That area of London was known as London's Little Lady. And Sabini's father's name is not clear, but I know his mother. I know his mother's name. His mother was a Scottish woman, Eliza Henley, or say Elizabeth. Charles said many names of his father. I don't know why, but let's keep it aside. Charles attended the Drury Lane Industrial School, a school designed for the neglected children. Those children were considered at a risk of delinquency after 1900s. He studied Laystall Street Elementary School in July 1902, and eventually he left school in 1902. Surprisingly, at age 13, he learned boxing with Dan Sullivan. Sabini at that age or at that time was seen as a really promising one, but he didn't do enough hard work to be successful and ended up being a bouncer in Hawks and Baths. He then married Annie Emma Potter. The couples were known to have at least 3 daughters and 1 son. Sabini got his reputation as a hard man during a bar fight at Griffin Public House in Saffron Hill. He really knocked out a well-known enforcer for the South London gang who had insulted a female Italian bartender. This ended up Sabini to look as a protector for both Italians and the women in the London. And also note that Griffin's Public House was the headquarters of Sabini's gang. Gang years. As the leader of his gang, he was known as the King of Gang and grandfather of Little Italy. And that's hella good reputation for gang leaders, and he was one of the most feared gang leader in front of his rivals at that time. He was involved in a bunch of criminal activities such as including extortion, thefts, and also owned a couple of nightclubs. His gang had an estimate of about a whopping 300 members. As said, his gang included imported Silesian gunmen and was notorious for razor attacks. So you don't know what razor attack is, right? Razor attack is a type of humiliation or torture done to a person by peeling his face or specifically cutting his face, keeping him alive and keeping him begging for his death, and humiliating a person till that much that he begs for his death. So it would be really messed up and really painful. In his own era, Sabini had connections with the police and politicians and also judges. So he was no doubt the most powerful gang leader of the era, and his competition. He had no competitions, and for him, he was the one at the top. His other businesses were at the top too, but grabbed the attentions of other gangs, such as Billy Kimber's gang. Okay, Billy is another shit, but not included in this series. What I wanted to say was this was Sabini at his peak, and he pretty much made other gangs envy of him, and the hate increased between the gangs. I mean, the violence between the gangs. This was increasing day by day, but Billy and his gang, Birmingham Boys, became quite suddenly, because 23 of the gang members got arrested or behind the bars in the Epsom Road battle. This caused 28 of the gang members to be on trial only. 5 of the 28 were proven not to be guilty, and as Sabini was fond of horse races, a jockey club at Bookmakers made sure that Sabini didn't got the best pitches. And his other interference on the track was also the police attacks on the tracks. It is only because of Sabini. As Sabini was lacking in income, he shifted his business to protection rackets at the Greyhound tracks, as well as the gambling clubs and many more places all over the West London. Sabini was able to complete all the challenges given by rival gangs such as the Courtesy brothers, who were also from Saffron Hill. Although his businesses were sometimes attacked by the street gangs, or in today's time the hood, such as the Hoxton mob, but Sabini's power was much capable to deal with all of these. His power was also more than the Jewish and the Italians, and obviously with the rise of fascism in Italy, and anti-Semitism became more common in the London's Italian or native communities. After the outbreak of the Second World War, Sabini was finally arrested, but before that Sabini was a hell of a heartless person, and he committed many murders in his life. One of the scariest was of the George Brummy, who was a Birmingham gangster. In 1921, Sabini and the boys brutally smashed the face of George and then took a razor, as I told, and then slashed his face, and with that razor brutally, and he made deeper and deeper cut in his face, making George to shiver in pain and to be wanting to die rather than to be tortured by that monstrous being. Sabini, after making George terrified, didn't leave him of his evilness. Sabini killed George by slashing his throat, it too with the probably blunt razor they used previously. This horrifying story was of Charles Sabini, one of the biggest criminals and one of the biggest and the most dangerous gang leader in the London's whole history. So again, so sorry, this is the end of the part 2 of the 6-part series known as the London Files, and as told you, this one is also gonna be a light one, but also at end it was a bit darker. You can get my point. It will go more darker and more interesting simultaneously, and also stay tuned for the other 4 parts. Part 3 will come exactly next month and exactly 6 p.m. IST with no delay. So just click the subscribe button and also the bell icon to get notified first on each video. You can also follow me up on Instagram, and I'll share my behind the scenes and the video processes and many things like video updates on there. Many of my pics are also available. I'll also talk to you guys if I could, and I will try my best to reply you. These are a collection of all the apps on which I'm available. I'm actually in all of these apps. You can contact me up anywhere, I'll be there. And here is the actual end of the video. So see you next one. Bye.